Your design portfolio isn't a resume. It's a product of your work. And like any product, it should evolve. Your portfolio is a reflection of you, your thinking, your experience, the problems you've solved, and the impact you've made. It should grow as you grow. But most designers don't treat it that way. They update their design portfolio when they're job hunting and then forget about it until panic sets in. Sound familiar? Here's what I've learned from reviewing hundreds of portfolios. The best ones aren't perfect, but they show you how you think, how you solve problems, and how your contributions have led to tangible impact. Hey friend, I'm Femke, and if your design portfolio feels outdated, stuck, or like it doesn't represent who you are anymore, you're in the right place, because today we're flipping the script. Your portfolio isn't something you finish, it's something that grows with you. In this video, you'll learn how to treat your design portfolio like the living product it should be. We'll cover how to take ownership of your story, showcase the decisions that actually matter, and iterate without chasing perfection. You'll also hear from Doody and Aneta Kmiecik, two design leaders who'll show you how to rethink everything you thought you knew about design portfolios. By the end, you'll stop seeing your design portfolio as a task to check off and start seeing it as your story. This video is sponsored by Framer, and we just built our entire course landing page in it without touching Figma once. Their new design pages feature has genuinely changed our workflow. It's like having a free-form canvas where you can block out content, experiment with animations, and test ideas all in one place. And you don't even need to build a website first. For our course landing page, we went from content blocking to fully animated transitions without leaving Framer at all. We tweaked copy, we tested different icons, played with custom animations, and everything stayed completely editable the whole time. No app switching, no messy exports, just design and iterate. And here's the thing, you could literally do this tonight. It's free to start, and if you want to follow along with what we're building, the link is in the description. What's really clicked for us is that design pages aren't just for websites. We've been cranking out social assets, campaign visuals, design resources, and then exporting everything in high quality, ready to use anywhere. Being able to compare versions side by side, preview instantly on my phone, and move this fast, it's completely shifted how we've been working. Framer isn't just a site builder anymore. It's a full design tool that takes you from idea to finished product in one place. Check out design pages through my link below, and if you build something cool, drop it in the comments. I actually want to see what you make with this. A big thanks to Framer for sponsoring and for making design feel effortless again. Link in the description, and now let's get back to the video. So what does it look like to actually treat your design portfolio this way? Well, Sarah learned this the hard way. Early in her career, she had a portfolio that got her interviews, but not job offers. And that gap forced her to rethink everything. She realized she wasn't just showing her work, but she needed to tell a story. She needed to put herself in the shoes of the hiring people. Here's Sarah on how that shift changed everything.
Back then, oftentimes portfolios were a combination of maybe a website, but a lot of times we literally printed out pages and stuck them in these like cool looking metal binders that the magazine Communication Arts always had ads for. And so this was my portfolio. It did not work. It got me interviews, but it didn't get me job offers because, as you can see, it was just a bunch of printed out screenshots of stuff I had done. And so I didn't realize that till obviously I was getting interviews, but not getting job offers. So I took a break and I just thought, okay, I got to start again and not, make this mistake of creating the portfolio that only gets me interviews and not job offers. So I really looked at my portfolio as a product, and that was kind of my like aha moment where I thought, okay, I got to put myself in the shoes of these people hiring. I'm getting the interviews, but I guess I'm not telling a good story about these projects.
There's something that happens when you make that mental shift. You stop feeling behind, like your design portfolio is this unfinished task collecting dust. Instead, you realize, I get to design this narrative. You're not just uploading case studies, you're curating how people experience your work. And it's not about copying what other designers are doing or matching some ideal portfolio online. It's about building something that reflects you, your choices, your growth, and your perspective. That's exactly what Aneta taps into next. You're the boss of your design portfolio. You decide the story, you tell the experience that you want people to have when they explore your work.
I think that the first realization that helped me tremendously in my process of portfolio creation, but I also share it also with my designers, is that realizing that you are actually the boss of your portfolio. It means that you own this product. You are the product owner, product manager, founder, boss. I don't know how you call it, but this is your product. So you lead this project, you decide, you make those final decisions. No matter what feedback you're getting, ultimately the decision is on you. And realizing this, it also can help you actually make those final decisions and actually, think about what you actually want to show in your portfolio and how you want to position yourself. The second one is also connected with the first part, but more about the fact that you are the owner and the designer of your portfolio. So you define this product. For instance, one designer may say that, okay, portfolios equals case studies, list of case studies and website. But maybe you have a different opinion about this, right? It's on you to decide what to show and how you show it and to shape your profile and to sell it.
Being the boss of your design portfolio means asking yourself questions that most designers tend to skip entirely. Not, is this case study long enough, or did I document every step? But questions like, what do I want to be known for? What kind of work do I want to do next? What makes my approach different from other designers? Here's the thing I've noticed in my career. Most designers are so focused on proving that they can actually do the work that they forget to show who they are as a designer. They look at other portfolios and they think, mine needs to look exactly like that. So they follow the same template, the same case study structure, the same visual style. You've seen them, right? But the most memorable design portfolios aren't the ones that follow a cookie cutter template. They're the ones that have a clear point of view. They make choices. They say, this is what I care about. This is how I work. And this is the kind of designer I am. Now that might mean focusing on 3 projects instead of 10, which is probably a good thing. It might mean leading with your process instead of final designs, or being honest about what didn't work and not just showcasing the wins. Being the boss means making those calls, even when it feels risky, even when they don't match what everyone else is doing, because that's what hiring managers are actually looking for. Designers who know who they are and can articulate it clearly. Once you take ownership of your design portfolio, the next question becomes, what do you actually want people to see? This is where a lot of portfolios fall flat. Designers show the steps. Here's the research, here's the wireframes, here's the final UI, but that alone doesn't really reveal how you think. What hiring managers remember are the decisions you made along the way, why you chose one approach over the other, what you learned, how that shaped the project. It's the difference between saying, I did this, and saying, here's what I learned and why it mattered. Sarah's next example shows exactly how to tell the story behind the work, not just display it.
And one more thing I'll say is, concerning personal projects, things you made up, like, for example, I had someone who had like a hearing impairment, and they noticed this problem in their own life where when they were driving a car, they could not hear emergency vehicles until they got really close, right?
I see.
It's not ideal. And so this person thought, oh, I'm going to turn this into a UX project. And they did a bunch of research and came up with some idea. And they included that in their portfolio.
Cool.
And hearing, it was all about the framing for this person, right? Of telling that story just like I did, rather than here's the homepage of Spotify that I redesigned for fun last Saturday. If you're going to include personal projects, what prompted you to even go down that path?
Once you start focusing on the story behind your work, it frees you from thinking everything needs a strict case study format. You don't need a 2,000 word breakdown for every project. Sometimes one specific moment says more about your skills than a full case study. A design decision that unlocked the project, a difficult trade-off, an unexpected insight from an experiment. Focusing on what really matters makes your design portfolio sharper, easier to digest, and honestly easier to maintain over time. You can check out this video I made all about showcases rather than case studies on your portfolio if you want to explore this topic further. But for now, Aneta explores this next. how to move away from rigid structures and give yourself permission to focus on the parts of the story that actually matter.
Think beyond projects. As I told you initially, your one work project doesn't need to equal one case study. Maybe you will pick one problem from this project and you will write a short case study about this, or you will pick another story from this project and you will, create a project snapshot or something like this. So this is a very key moment as well in your portfolio creation process. Then you are ready to outline your stories. And your stories don't necessarily need to be case studies. This is another, I think, misconception that whenever we say, I need to create my portfolio, everyone is, I need to write those case studies. Oh, Jesus. Not necessarily. You can write case studies. The length of the case studies is really up to you, depending on how you use the storytelling and how you will shape the story. But you don't necessarily need to create case studies for everything. And to be honest, from my observation, the less experienced you are, the more proof you need to show in your portfolio. Meaning, for instance, if you're a junior, or even if you're a mid designer, or even a senior designer, and you know that in some areas you have very little proof to show to hiring manager that you can do this particular job, then of course you might need to provide more information, and then you can do it with case study format, but it's not like it's mandatory.
So what does beyond case studies actually look like in practice? I've seen designers take all kinds of approaches. Some create project snapshots, one-page overviews that show the problem, their role, and a key decision. No lengthy breakdown, just the essential story. Others organize their design portfolio by themes instead of projects. Sections like how I navigate ambiguity, or designs that shaped my thinking but never shipped. It flips the traditional structure, but it shows how they approach problems, which is often more valuable than seeing another redesigned checkout flow. You know what I mean? I once reviewed a design portfolio where a designer had a section called 5 design decisions I'm proud of. Just 5 moments. Each one showed a choice that they made that influenced the outcome. No full case studies, just impact. And honestly, it was more memorable than any 2,000 word case study I've seen. Look, the format doesn't matter. What matters is that it reflects how you want to be seen. Are you someone who thrives in ambiguity? Show projects where you navigated unclear requirements. Are you great at collaborating across teams? Highlight how you influence stakeholders. Your portfolio should make that obvious, not buried in paragraph 12 of a case study. Another common trap: thinking only fully polished, shipped projects belong in your portfolio. But the truth is, a lot of meaningful work happens behind the scenes. You and I both know this. Projects never launch because priorities shifted, explorations that maybe helps the team see a problem differently. Again, even if they never shipped, these are valuable moments. They show how you navigate ambiguity, make decisions under constraints, and adapt when plans change. The key is context. Instead of just a screenshot, explain the problem, your role, and what you learned, even if the outcome wasn't perfect. Sarah captures this perfectly. Your design portfolio isn't about flawless execution. It's about communicating your thinking.
There seems to be this myth out there that if a project didn't launch, you cannot include it. And or that recruiters and hiring managers only want to see end-to-end projects. But in the real world, like let's say, because this comes up a lot, oftentimes you work on projects that skip research. And I know you would have liked to do the research, but whether it was timeline, budget, a stubborn stakeholder, whatever, they're like, no, we're not doing research. So that does not mean you cannot include that project because you didn't do research. You just have to add context around why you didn't do research, you know? So let's look at some examples here. Let's see. I already talked through this. But when it comes to large projects, or even, well, let's just stick with large projects. One myth I think that's out there is that you have to show everything, right? And sometimes that might make sense, but consider this like permission to also focus a case study in your portfolio on just one part of it.
And then there's one of the biggest pressures designers feel. Thinking your design portfolio needs to be finished before you can even share it. But you and I both know it's almost never truly finished. It's not something you complete once and then forget. It's something you build gradually, shaping it as your work and your experience grow. Even small updates make a difference, like swapping a screenshot, adding a reflection about a design choice, rewriting your introduction to clarify your new role. These tweaks don't require a redesign, but they keep your design portfolio alive and relevant. This mindset also gives you the freedom to experiment, trying new formats, new ways to showcase your thinking, reflecting on what's working without chasing perfection from day one. That's what Aneta explores next: progress over perfection. Small steps, continuous improvement, and letting your portfolio grow with you. That approach makes the whole process less stressful and more sustainable.
Portfolio is never done. This is a marathon, not a sprint. So be prepared for this. Don't stress so much. Don't look for perfection. Like make one iteration. An iteration doesn't mean one iteration doesn't equal redesigning the whole portfolio. It can equal, changing this button, or changing the one title, or changing this one story, or improving this one visual. You can really break it down into smaller steps. So key learnings are: know your situation, who you are as a designer, what are your constraints, where you are going next with your portfolio. Set up your mindset, the boss mindset, the marketer mindset, the salesperson mindset, the designer mindset. Then you can build your portfolio strategically. Practice portfolio skills. This is another one. It's not like you will write your stories, amazingly tomorrow. I've been creating content for 4 years and I'm far away from being ideal when writing. So this is another skill: storytelling, visual storytelling, positioning yourself, even writing this elevator pitch. It's really a thing to practice. Keep going, because portfolio is needed if you want to work as an individual contributor designer, hands-on designer, but also it's even more visible among managers. And it's also cool, like a personal website for a personal brand. So it's cool to have it.
So here's what it comes down to. Your design portfolio isn't a test you pass or fail. It's not something you finish and then hope it's good enough. It's a living reflection of where you are right now as a designer, and that's exactly what makes it valuable. The designers who get this are the ones who stop stressing about perfection and start sharing their thinking. They show the decisions they made, the problems they solved, the moments they're proud of, even when the work didn't ship exactly as planned. That's what hiring managers remember. Not necessarily the pixel perfect mockups, not the 5-page process breakdown, but the clarity of your thinking and the honesty about your growth, the confidence in explaining why your work mattered. And you get to build that clarity by treating your portfolio like a product you actively shape, not a chore you complete once and forget about. Your portfolio isn't just a collection of screenshots or case studies, it's a reflection of how you think, solve problems, and grow as a designer, so treat it as such. Update it, iterate on it, and let it tell your story in a way that makes your impact obvious. Remember, it's not about perfection. It's about showing your thinking, your curiosity, and growth. Small tweaks over time beat one perfect redesign. Before you go, comment below. Tell me what update you're going to make to your portfolio. I'd love to hear. Hit like if this gave you clarity or a fresh perspective, and subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Bye!